Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another virtual meet. How are we doing, guys?
Very good.
Good, good. I'm going to add Colin. There is Lynn. We're live, Lynn.
Long in a minute.
No problem. No problem. So yeah, we're all good. That's good. Good, good. We'll just give it a minute, see who's going to join us anyway. Hannah's here tonight as well, but she's having a few camera problems just now, so she's trying to sort that out. And hopefully she'll be joining us on screen shortly as well. Yeah. Okay. Evening, Richie. Where's he hiding?
I have no idea.
Ah, dear. Oh, well. But hey-ho. So we're all good. What's the weather been like, eh?
Oh, I slept blanket on last night.
We've had hail. 2 days in the trot, we've had hail. It's crazy.
There's hail down here. There was torrential showers in Bucky. I'm not sure if it was hail. It was just heavy.
Yeah. No, it's crazy weather. Hopefully it improves to the weekend. Fingers crossed.
There's been the wind Juna before. There will be again.
Yeah, that's very true.
Scotland.
That's very true. Yeah.
I mind being up the Cairngorms when I was a student social worker. We were going camping in June, and still, but it was blanket snow at the top of the plateau.
Evening Murdoch. Yeah. I know they've had fresh snow in Cairngorms yesterday.
I've never spent as cold a night in a tent in a sleeping bag as that.
Well, it is a Cairngorms, to be honest. Evening, Barry.
I just realised I was sitting with my earphones on and they weren't plugged in. I'm like, God, that's a good start.
Dear. Oh, dear.
The worst of it was when we got up to the plateau above the ski lift bit, we found an American woman, and she came up to us and says, "Where's the parking lot?" Follow the cairns, and you go down. And we went carried on, and we turned round, and she was veering off. So thankfully, a ranger came along and went. He was like, "Go get that lady before she walks off the edge of the cliff," kind of thing. Where's the parking lot? I'll never forget it.
Yeah. So you've not seen the Grey Man of Ben McDooey then? No.
No, I got altitude sickness, so I couldn't get up Ben McDooey. We went off of the plateau down to Loch Awe, set up camp, and the plan was to go up Ben McDooey for midnight for something anniversary or something. A lot of folk were meeting up there, but I got a massive stonking headache, so I didn't. I stopped doing. I didn't think the others made it in time. When hey, stop! You can knock the pad off. Come over here.
Never worked with children and animals.
Yeah, not sure which order.
But it was good fun.
Yeah.
It was something I've never done before and never done since.
I don't think I've been up the Cairngorms since this was up the Cairngorms since I was about 12-year-old. So that's it's a long time, very long time since I've been up that neck of the woods. But we were up at Kingnewsea and at Ruthven Barracks, obviously.
What a smooth link!
It was, wasn't it? Yeah. Evening, Katrina. So yeah, Ruthven Barracks. It was a revisit for us. Obviously, we've been there a couple of times. Always interesting. Great history. Obviously, going back to the Wolf of Badenoch and his chess game, and then obviously it was the barracks for a very short period of time, and also where the Jacobite army regrouped after Culloden and disbanded after Culloden as well. So a lot of history in one place. Not as active as maybe our visit with Mark Wallbank. We didn't get the same sort of flashing lights and things like that. I think the night kind of started off quite quietly, but as it went on, it got a bit more active. The stables again, though, were definitely the most active.
Well, we got quite a lot of
Evening, Mark.
catwalk activity on the basement with Claire, and Colin got some figures on the fireplace bit, the raised fireplace.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
It was quite later on in the basement. We didn't, when we went back, we didn't get nothing.
Yeah, because we got more at the end of the night when we were back later in bits. That's when we kind of got back. But yeah, it was, as I said, it was really interesting. The stables again, we kind of picked up. Claire seemed to be interacting with a stable boy, and we were getting quite interesting hits on cat balls.
We put 3 round Claire, and it flashed at either kind of one.
Yeah.
Cool.
We then split into 2 groups, and Lawrence, Claire, and myself stayed in the stables. I was standing at the gate to the stables, and Claire was trying to communicate again, and I heard what I can only describe as probably footsteps right next to the gate, as if somebody was suddenly standing there. This seemed to change the interaction immediately, what Claire was getting, and that suddenly the stable boy appeared to become uneasy and less talkative, and we seemed to suggest that possibly it was his father, and his father wasn't happy with him talking to us. So yeah, that was really, really quite interesting in the way that just all of a sudden with that, happening at the gate, that then suddenly the rods started behaving in a completely different manner, which was really, really interesting. Evening, Scott. The sun is shining. We've had hail here today, mate. It's a bit wild in the Highlands at the moment. So yeah. And then we, as Lynn was saying there, we kind of went in and we went into the different groups. The basement's always given us some bits and pieces. We did the bake house, which I don't think we've done.
We didn't get before the rods, but we was just getting nothing in any of the places. Colin did take over the rods in the jail part, just into the door to the right, and he was getting a conversation with George, which we've spoken to in a previous occasion. So, but that was the only activity we got in our group when we split up.
Yeah.
And a cat ball went off when Colin was doing the rods as well at his feet. And he wasn't doing that, like, so 2 feet between them, so he wasn't kicking it.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, and I remember the last time when we got that light anomaly.
Yeah.
In the stable. I thought to ask when there was interaction with Claire in the stable boy, was that him that was the light anomaly, and we did get a positive answer to that question.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, it was interesting. I've got, as I said, a wee video clip. Some of you will have seen this already because we have put it out on the page. That was taken on the night, which has got an EVP at the start of it. So I will see if that will play for us.
Is there any spirit in here that wishes to communicate with us? If you could please cross the rods over.
Now, what's really interesting about that is that we all hear different things. And this is what's fascinating me about EVPs just now, is that every time we put an EVP out, I never tell people what I'm hearing, and everybody comes back with something different. I think it says something like "We will die," but I know not everybody picks that up. So I'll play it once more. But I'd love to know what you guys think as well. And let us know what you think.
Is there any spirit in here that wishes to communicate with us? If you could please cross the rods over.
So, what do you think? Let us know. What did you guys think of this one? I can't actually remember what. I know that a few years came up with different thoughts to what I thought I heard.
The first time I heard it, I thought it said "Hello, darling" in a Cockney accent. And then when I went back and listened again, I heard "They're all dying."
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Kathy, thank you. Yeah. It's a strange one. It's as I said, it seems to now be a common thing when we put audios out that obviously we don't want to influence people by saying what we're hearing. Because actually that's the other thing. As soon as somebody says something, you go back to listen to, oh yeah, it could be saying that. But yeah, it's an interesting one. And it kind of makes sense as well, because if it, we're not sure. Oh, Lynn's dropped off.
She's lost the sound, so she's away to try.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I think we were talking, if I'm right there, we were talking to, I believe, a soldier. So it would make sense that possibly that was the feelings that were going through their minds. And if you read any of the history about the kind of mood, especially the Jacobite side, the mood when they regrouped, they are ready to fight on, to be told, each man for themselves. They were devastated. And extremely worried about what was coming next. So it could make perfect sense. And what was really interesting, that audio clip was captured right at the start of the session. So it was just after I'd switched the audio on, before we'd actually asked any questions. I don't think so, Mark.
Or maybe Mark's asking. Maybe we'll, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, you hear us now, Lynn?
Yeah, when the clip started, the sound went.
Well, I hope we've got more video later, so hopefully it'll be okay. So yeah, really, really interesting night at Ruthven. And it was quite interesting because at the end of the night, just as we were sort of packing up, suddenly all these cars are there. And we're like, what's going on here? Why is there so many cars out here at this time of night? I did have some kind of naughty thoughts as to what might be going on, but it was actually, I think it was the Northern Lights were due that night, but as Lawrence mentioned earlier, they didn't show, unfortunately. So there would have been a lot of disappointed people. The other thing that was really cool for us, and I never took a photo, and I'm really kicking myself for not doing this, when we actually turned up there was guys in full Jacobite gear who were actually a reenactment at the folk festival, folk museum, sorry, and they'd actually come across. They were actually from Derby, which I found hilariously funny, but they were dressed in the full Jacobite gear, which was pretty cool to see them there.
I was sad to miss Ruthven, because I really enjoyed the last investigation that we were there when Mark was over. I thought it was really cool. And I really liked the light anomaly that you were talking about, and the fact that we just couldn't debunk it. Yeah,
I think we'll definitely go back. At some point. It's just down the road, so it's not a trek to get there. So I think it'll be one that we definitely. We're not finished with Ruthven. No. Definitely not. Yeah. That's okay, Helen. I typed wrong. The amount of times I type things wrong on the page and go back 5 minutes later and goes, I never typed that, did I? I have to edit it. phones and computers auto-correcting things. So that was Ruthven. We obviously then went to last week, wasn't it? Kind of Abertarff house.
So we could go today.
A week ago today. And that again was really, really interesting. So 1593, I think, the oldest house in Inverness. It's got a rich history. It's been in the hands of the Frasers, the Stuarts, the Frasers again. And since the 1960s, I think it's been with the National Trust. So we got in. It's fair to say things started off really quiet. We weren't really picking up much at all. But interestingly enough, Kyra walked in and she's doing a walk round and she walks into the shop and she goes, I think this used to be the kitchen. And there's no clue as it's just a room, there's nothing there. And Donald from the National Trust confirmed later to us, yes, that was the kitchen. It's always been the kitchen. It's from all the records they've got. So that was pretty cool. She also picked up on a black Labrador, didn't you?
Yes. No idea where it came from. Couldn't identify it as actually being there, just black Labrador.
Yeah. And as I said, interesting enough, when we did the Dunbar Hospital, which will be the second oldest building, I believe, in Inverness, what was picked up, and there was a black Labrador. So who knows? Same dog? Who knows? So yeah, really, really interesting. But we got access to the entire building. So the public normally only get the lower floor, but we had access to the entire building. And it was, I think, it started off slow. Some of the rooms had absolutely zilch. We didn't pick up anything in the rooms apart from shadows of seagulls flying outside and the noise of seagulls and pigeons. And again, we caught some stuff on audio and video that we thought we were really impressed with till we went back and listened to it, and it was noise pollution from outside. So that was a bit frustrating. But then you picked up on somebody in the office, didn't you, Kyra?
Well, when we'd done the walk round, I picked up on it being a child's bedroom. So it kind of felt like a good place to do a good rod session, and they seemed to like Richie and interact with him. Yeah.
So that was the first time really in an investigation Richie's used the rods, really. And he really had a couple of really good sessions. And then we came back downstairs and we were actually going to do a live on Facebook, but the walls of Abertarff are sadly a little bit on the thick side, so the signal kept dropping out, so we abandoned that. But we did a session anyway, and this time we did a ghost box session, and we picked up on what we think sounds like a female voice. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Karen, it was the only time a female voice came through.
Yeah, I think so.
On the spirit box was on the one occasion. At the same time, I know not everybody's a fan of it, but we had cat balls starting to go off again. So again, I can show you this clip, which we haven't published on our main page, and you can see for yourself and see what you think.
My name's Kyra. Can you tell me your name? Papa. Did you get that one?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Did you just make that ball light up?
Do that again, yeah.
Do you like the colours?
So, what do you make of that? Can you still hear us, Lynn?
Yes, I didn't do this.
Yeah, good. So I don't know if you heard that. I've got some audio which I can play as well, which we've isolated the voice. We've also cleaned it up and we slowed it down as well on a clip. So I'll play that in a minute to you guys. But that was quite impressive. I will say as well that the cat ball was not going off randomly. So when we finished, it wasn't still going off. It stopped going off. So we kind of ruled it out being anything kind of natural. It did seem to be going off at command for Kyra when Kyra was talking.
I think the interesting thing about that was we weren't getting any activity on it until I actually introduced myself and said my name.
Yeah.
And the moment I did that, it started interacting with us, and it was literally on command.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Helen, we didn't, because at the time we couldn't actually make out what it was, what came through. And even now, it's another one similar to Ruthven, where different people are hearing different things. But yeah, I mean, as I said, it appeared to interact. We think it was the girl again, don't we?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, even right at the end, when I switched the spirit box off after saying goodbye, it lit up again as if it was saying goodbye to us.
Okay.
It's definitely got a 2-syllable word. Something.
Yeah.
And I think it ends in an ah.
Yeah. 100%, Kay. It was really interesting because, as I said, it stood out on the ghost box as well, because there was nothing else like it coming through. Every other voice, when we were getting radio bleeding and whatnot, it was male voices, and it also was longer than the bleed than the normal radio voice, which skips through as well. So yeah, that was really, really interesting. And I'll play the audio in a second so you can have a listen to it. But what was interesting the next day was that the National Trust contacted us and confirmed that several members of staff have seen a little girl on the first floor, where the bedroom in that area. So it kind of ticked a box for us as to what Kyra had been picking up on previously. So that was really cool. I don't think we've actually managed, even though Donald at the National Trust witnessed that session. He still appears to be a skeptic from the email that he sent me the other day. But we'll keep trying. But what I'll do now, as I said, I'll play the audio. There's 3 clips here. Normal one, then cleaned up a little, and then actually the cleaned up and slowed down. So you can tell me what you think, if you think.
My name's Kyra. Can you tell me your name? My name's Kyra. Can you tell me your name? Can you tell me your name?
So there you go. What do you think of
I'm hearing
that?
something different now, and listening to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I listened to it at first, I thought it was saying Suzette.
Okay.
But when I slowed it down, I think it's saying Susan. Richie thinks it's saying Kyra. Moira.
It's strange because the other day I could definitely hear the as the second syllable, and I thought it was Kyra, but it sounds different somehow today. It's quite strange.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing it through this, and I was listening to it on my phone, and I thought it was just a sound at the end, but now I'm hearing Susan. But Susan's quite a modern name, I think.
Hi, Claire.
Yeah.
I can do a bit of digging.
Yeah, we've got. I'll send you on what the National Trust sent some information to us. We did a road session where I tried to use my local history knowledge to narrow down the time period. So I think we think it's 18th century, but not 100% sure.
So
So
I'll do a bit of digging on the Susan name, but I've never come across a Susan for the 1700s.
no. We've got some of the female names from the house that we know lived in the house. I think as well. I think Kyra, you thought, was it about 10-year-old or
Yeah.
thereabout? Yeah.
Yeah. 10-year-old blonde curly hair.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Abertarff. It's, as I said, it's a lovely wee house, and well worth seeing just for the marriage lintel alone, which is really impressive. But yeah, great place. Sounds like the spirit is shouting. Yeah,
I kind of thought that as well. It was almost like it was just really trying to get your attention. That's what it sounds like. You know, obviously it's answering the question, but it's also, you know, it's very clear even when you sort of hear it without any, you know, cleaning up. That it is quite. I don't think shouting in a bad way, but just shouting to make sure they're heard.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, it is really interesting because we heard it, but we couldn't work out what it was. But straight away, we're like, "Whoa, that's not what we've been." You know, that's different. So yeah, definitely a bit of sing song. Keen to communicate. Well, it was interesting because that's when things started to get. Obviously, you can see with the video, the cat balls started going off, and you know, basically, we appear to be getting a much more intelligent response at that point than what we'd previously got. Because generally in the building, the energies hadn't been particularly strong.
Do you think, though, that's because they've not been interacted with before? It's that thing about, you know, you have to go places, you have to kind of build up trust, you have to show them that you're not there to cause harm, you know, and is it going to be somewhere that's going to, you know, give more as time goes on, that if we go in again or different people go in or different energies or whatever, that, you know, we might get different results if we're lucky enough to get back in, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think that is the case. I think, it was mentioned on the day as well, and we've seen it elsewhere, haven't we, Lindsay? Where the more you go back to a location, the more you seem to get, and they seem to trust us more. But we did ask, I think, at one point, were they happy with us, and they were happy to talk to us. You know.
I think as well, though, spirit almost have to learn how to communicate back with you. You know, it's not just a given that, you know, everybody that passes over can then all of a sudden communicate, because it takes a certain like knowledge and energy for them to be able to do it, is what I believe anyway. I'm not saying that's the, you know, the actual God, you know, truth, but that's what I believe about spirits.
Well, it's all theories, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, but yeah, I think they're definitely, in experience I've had doing it, is that over time that there's that build up of trust, you know, and I think that was what we were certainly seeing there suddenly. And I think as well, Kyra nailed it on the head, because Kyra took the really personal, friendly approach. You know, and when she did that, instantly she started getting responses. And I'm also a great believer, and I don't know, you know, I'm being a bit stereotypical here, but I think children in general react better to women. I think it's the mothering thing and whatnot. I think I do think that in general children tend to be more acknowledge women more than they do men, I find anyway.
I think in a way, though, if you think about gender stereotypes and roles and things back in the past, the men wouldn't really have had much to do with their children. You know, it would have been the women, and nannies and things, and a lot of these sort of grander houses and things. But you know, it would be them that would have. So that kind of makes sense as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it would. But yeah, it was fascinating. First, pretty sure we're the first group that's ever been in there. For me, it was an absolute honor. I mean, I was telling them in primary school, I actually drew the house. So you know, it's always been a house that's fascinated me since an early age. So to get in and to get in and investigate, it was really, really cool. And yeah, who knows? We might get back in again. It would be good to go back and delve a bit deeper into the child spirit and see if we can, you know, we can get more.
I think it'd be interesting to see if they become a bit more familiar with us, if that encourages them to want to communicate more, because maybe they trust us a bit more. Be interesting to see, because it was really difficult to pull the energy and get what we did.
Yeah. Oh, I'll just quickly put that one up. That's for you. That's for you, Lynn. Yeah, I think you're right there, Helen. We've had that as well. We've gone to locations where basically, and we actually had that at Ruthven, where it was clear that one of the male spirits would not speak to a woman. So Claire was doing a session and was not interested in speaking to Claire. As soon as Barry took over, he started communicating. And we've certainly had that in the past, where that, you know, male spirits, you know, probably as a time that, you know, women were seen as being lower down the ladder, as it were, and that they wouldn't talk to women in general. So yeah, it's really, really interesting, that side of it as well, who they will and won't talk to. Definitely.
I think it's a personality thing as well. You know, like sometimes if you go in and if you're dude and you know you're not really very exciting to talk to people that are alive, then spirits are probably not going to want to talk to you either. Whereas if you've got a bit of crack and a bit of humour and, you know, then they want to talk to you. That's my theory anyway.
Yeah. Okay. We've got somebody coming in just now. Okay. Hannah! And she's gone off again. As soon as we there she is.
Sorry.
Hello.
Hi, Hannah.
Oh, that took me ages. I'm so sorry.
No problem. Welcome, the virtual mate. And we'll say you're welcome. And I'm sure everybody actually knows Hannah now because we've put the post out there. But Hannah is our first ever Gaelic speaking investigator.
Oh, it's so funny having that title.
I know. I couldn't think of another way to put it. That was
it makes.
Sorry, you were going to say?
No, I just said it makes sense. It's what it is, isn't it? So.
Yeah.
Oh, face grabber.
But I mean, I've obviously spoken about it before. There's different theories, different beliefs. Some people believe that when you pass over, it's an international language. Everybody can understand and speak every language. I don't really see that from when I've investigated. You know, we've seen at Pool House, for instance, where you bring in the Gaelic speaking side of things and suddenly you're getting responses on the rods where you were having gobbledygook before. At Inverary jail, I think we had a woman, one of the guests who was a Gaelic speaker, and she said the spirit can speak in English, but she prefers to speak in Gaelic. And I also think the history in the Highlands in a lot of places would mean that actually the English language would be maybe possibly feared as well in the past. So yeah, I think that Hannah coming into the group is great for us, and it opens a whole new dimension. I've told her already. She's just like Lindsay with the medium side. She's just another tool in the box. But
funny,
we're all tools. We're all tools.
I was just thinking that, and I thought I'm not saying it because she might take it the wrong way. I've only just met you.
No, I've already told her she's a tool.
I'm a tool.
We're all tools. It's fine.
Yeah, we're all tools. Yeah. Yeah.
We're all
it's
all
Helms.
different kinds of tools.
Yeah.
Make up a good toolbox.
I was just going to say that actually. Yeah, all equally as good for the toolbox.
Yeah.
That's it. Every piece is as useful as the next, and that's the good thing I think about this team, is that we all bring something a bit different, and all have our own little things that we're good at, or things that we can bring. So it's really good.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
It's as you were saying, Liam, I know we were talking about that last week with the universal language thing, but I've kind of experienced that as well. Like, I think in a lot of cases I do believe that spirits I've communicated with are, like, you can talk to them and they'll, communicate in almost any language, but there are a lot of Gaelic speaking ones that I am aware of from where I live. And actually one of my guides, I think she seems to only want to speak to me in Gaelic as well. She's actually an ancestor of mine, and she came through to me when I was learning Gaelic at Solmore, so I'm kind of thinking she's connected to that. But yeah, a lot of them only want, if they speak Gaelic, that's all they want to speak to me. So yeah, it's quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, and we've got Lynn to do the Doric.
Oh, nice.
Yep. So we're multilingual. We've got Lawrence, who's obviously French, and she did a calling out session in French at Pool House for the Mary Queen of Scots exhibition, which was really interesting as well. So yeah, we're multilingual, just like Helen's team are down in Guernsey area. And yeah, I think it's important to try different things and push things out. And as I said, when we've used Gaelic speakers in the past, when we've had guests, that we've always had results.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's cool. And again, Hannah's not just coming on to speak Gaelic; she'll investigate with the team as an investigator as well. So yeah, it's really
great, all these languages, and I just speak a lot of rubbish.
Sorry, Lindsay, that's what I do. What do we say about winging it? But yeah, so yeah, well, it's great to have Hannah on board for that.
Yes, welcome, Hannah.
Oh, thank you, guys.
We've got some exciting stuff coming up. So Castle Fraser, we're going back to in October. Looking forward to that one. Yeah, it should be good. It was good last year. So that one, tickets are selling very fast for that one. So if you are thinking about going, folks, don't leave it too long. There isn't many
left. Not many left.
No, there's not a lot left at all for that one. Pool House is also, tickets are available for that one. That's a through the day event, but it will be the last day of the Mary Queen of Scots exhibition. So it will be your last chance to see that exhibition. They've also added some more things in since we were there last time. So yeah, it's really worth a visit. Even if you can't make it with us, if you can make it over to Pull You through the year, make sure you check it out, because as I said, it's a fascinating house as well. So we've got that one. Then we're back at Durn House in November, and at the moment that'll be our last one for the year. So I don't think we'll be having any after that. We're still working on a couple of other locations, trying to get some other locations sorted out. So who knows? A couple of emails went out the door today to see. So we'll see what comes back from them. Certainly they're both locations that I've spoken to recently who said that they'd be up for doing events. So we'll see how that one goes. As we mentioned, the Seekers Festival, unfortunately, in Helmsdale's had to be postponed this year. It was something that basically, due to unforeseen circumstances, it just wasn't going to be possible to do this year, but we hope to do it next year. So watch this space with that one as well. So plenty going on. The team are due to be out as well on Saturday night. So if possible, we will do a live from the location we're at on Saturday night. But yeah, and as I said, I think that's kind of it. We've still got the ghost walks going on. We've got a couple of other virtuals. So we've done a couple of these video cast podcasts, if you like. We've had Eileen and Nicola on Phantom Seekers, Whispering Souls. And then we had Greg Stewart from Scottish Paranormal on last week, and that, again, both brilliant chats. We've got Scott coming on from Paranormal History in a couple of weeks' time as well, and then I've got a couple more to organise, hopefully for next month as well. So busy. Let's see. I'm just trying to catch up on questions. Yep. Well, it would lovely to see you at Castle Fraser, Helen. As I said, it's a wonderful location. Wonderful location.
And Pool House as well, which I think was your second comment. So come there too.
Yeah. 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 Definitely.
Iona will be working on the film soon again. She's been tied up with her drama teaching end of term productions, so but she's house sitting for us for the 3 weeks in July that we're away, so that'll give her plenty time to final edit the videos of Pool and Darn.
Yeah, cool.
Look
So
forward to seeing them.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I'm just having a look here. Is Doon Castle haunted? Probably is. Every castle in Scotland's haunted. Don't know. I need to have a look. Doon Castle. Need to have a look and see.
I think my ghost run a while with my Apple Watch at the start of the week. I had a shower on Sunday, took it off. I was a training course for 2 days, and I appeared on Monday, and I went to look at March. Oh, I must have left it on the charger. Came home at night, no watch on the charger. Hunted the house high and low. Came down on Tuesday morning, and it's sitting in the middle of my desk. It's not done that for years. It used to do it regularly. Things disappeared and came back. And it's like, what? I'm not that blind. Yeah. So I think I'm going to get the sage out again.
Somebody's trying to get your attention, Lynn, I think.
Oh,
yeah. I'm going to pronounce your name wrong. I'm sure. Isela. Is it Isela? Hello. Hi from Costa Rica. I bet the weather is better in Costa Rica than it is here.
It'll certainly be warmer.
Yes, Murdo.
I saw this.
I saw this one, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no, I don't find that's true. You can't guarantee, but when we go back to different places, there's different things happen. Some nights are busier than others, and I don't find that's true.
I said gentleman has an app, and his app is no longer finding ghosts. I think that was the crux of the article. So
I think said gentleman might need to check his app or update it or delete it altogether.
Yeah. I see these Daily Star, Daily Mirror, The Sun. They're just I'm not buying it, I'm afraid to say. Yeah. I mean, it's not something we've experienced. We're not suddenly going to locations and there's nothing there. Yeah.
I would wonder how much of that is that people are more aware now of everything that goes on online and on TV and are noticing things that aren't genuine, and if it's maybe, a bit of an excuse for it.
Yeah, I also think as well, you had lockdown when the opposite happened and suddenly the amount of paranormal activity being reported was going through the roof. And a lot of that was down, they believed, just people simply being in a property that they normally weren't in through the day. It was quiet. There's noises that they just didn't hear at other times when they were in the house, and suddenly they're hearing noises and things like that. So I think it's maybe a bit of both. But yeah, I did chuckle when he's the creator of an app, and it's his app that is no longer.
Maybe it needs an iOS update.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, I think come to Scotland and you won't be disappointed.
Yeah. Oof, that's a tough question, isn't it? Everywhere.
It's got a very rich history, so if you go to anywhere, you've a chance.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different places to try, to be perfectly honest. And yeah, sometimes you go and you get nothing, but at some sites, but other times you can go and it can be off the charts. So let us know when you're here, and we'll see what we can sort out. Definitely. Yeah, you need to tell us about that, Kathy. I mean, Edinburgh again. It's regarded as spook central, isn't it? So, and a city that actually loves its dark tourism. We've talked about it on here before. Unlike nearly everywhere else, who still seems to shun dark tourism. I don't get it personally. I think it's it's an area that people want to know about and get involved in when they're here. It's part of the mystery of Scotland.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, there was a Durn house last time. Oh God, yeah, there was a Durn house last time.
Lots of activity, yes.
Yeah. Oh, where do we start with Durn house last time? Yeah.
It was like no other visit.
Yeah, I think one night, one room there in particular, was problematic, shall we say, on the night. I know that Kyra didn't feel right in that room, did you?
No, the weird thing about that was after the main thing that had happened in there, I went back in to look for that missing K2 meter and went into the bathroom, and it felt like it was tipping. And we'd noticed it before, and one of the guests actually put a cat ball down to see if the surface was flat, and it was. But without me telling him, he'd felt it as well, but it literally felt like you were on a boat in there. It was really bizarre.
Yeah. So that was a room where whatever happened, I mean, it appears that whatever was in that room was using our energies. And certainly a few of us were affected quite badly. I know I was on the night.
Which room was that?
That was on the top floor. It was actually one of the rooms that one of the members of staff was staying in. It was one that I'd never investigated before.
Just at the top of the stairs?
No,
it was along a bit.
inside from there.
Was it the other end then? The Dunbar one?
No.
It wasn't Dunbar. It was further along between it was on the... If you come out of the Dunbar room, it was on the left-hand side. It might have been the first room on the left-hand side.
Room.
Yeah.
I think it was called... Was it called the Ferguson?
Yeah, that's the housekeeper.
No,
Well, the story says it was the housekeeper that used to live in that room.
Yeah. So certainly one corner of that room, when people stood in it, they really didn't feel good. And in what happened to me was basically I was drained, headache, nausea. I started getting heart palpitations. People were saying the colours drained out of me, you should leave the room. I left the room. I was in a daze for about 10 minutes and I had a paranormal hangover for 2 days afterwards. So yeah, it can open my eyes a bit to that I need to maybe protect myself. But what's really interesting as well is basically as I ran out of energy, the equipment in the room all lit up, which I do actually find fascinating. But Durn always gives us something. I don't think there's ever been an occasion we've been there and we haven't had something. It's one of these houses. It's really weird. I've said before, when we first went, we got a list and it was like, oh, we've got 15 ghosts or something like that. And I goes, aye, right. But actually, you know, they're not there all the time. But yeah, there's a lot of activity in that house, and it's not down to one. So yeah,
It's different every time.
yeah.
And there was obviously the new strong spirit, and what happened when we were in the kitchen, Lynn, with the fridge and stuff like that.
yeah. No, the old kitchen, the new kitchen,
the kitchen they work in.
First time that we've ever got to go into it. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, it was able to manipulate it. I was standing beside the freezer, and all of a sudden there was a big thump, and the freezer went into auto defrost. And I thought, oh God, what have I done? Have I leant on something or whatever? And then it shot a way up, and then when we asked it to put it back down, it started going down. And then I asked it to stop, you know, at a certain number, and it did it. And yeah, but it seemed to be, I mean, we had people affected in my team. I was affected a little bit, but I was kind of pushing it away. But again, it seemed to be the males that were mainly affected. Richie had to go out at one point, and I think one of the other guests was also feeling it. And
the owner was in with us, and the freezer had just been, that's the word I'm looking for, and he said it shouldn't do that. It should just not go into, just automatically go into defrost. He was quite worried at that bit. It's like, just been serviced, it shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, he had £1,000 worth of food in it, and I think was a little bit anxious about the fact his freezer went kaput.
I'm not sure we'll let us back in there.
No. Not unless their freezer's a bit more empty.
Yeah. The other thing as well is that night we actually got what on the night we thought, oh, that looks quite impressive. I think it was Claire took a photograph, and it was off a mirror, but we actually successfully debunked it as basically just actually marks on the mirror. We've had that once before where we got excited about seeing something in a mirror, but then when you actually go and look at it closer, you find out it's just marks in the mirror. But that's part of what we do. So debunking is obviously there. We've got lots of.
Can I just say the other one thing when we're talking about the evidence, just quickly before we move on, because my brain will not remember, was the footprints on the thermal imager.
Yes.
That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
So footprints had appeared in a thermal imager where nobody had been standing just beforehand, so that was pretty cool.
And we got Colin to stand and Richie to do the thermal, and his footprint looked different to the other footprint besides, but there was nobody standing where the first footprint appeared as well, so it couldn't be a normal person's footprint.
Yeah, so it was cool.
Strange question, but was it, when you say footprint, was it like somebody wearing shoes? Footprint, or
you couldn't tell that it was the shape of a foot.
Oh, right, okay.
You know, like if you've got concrete and someone was to stand in it, you would see the outline of a foot.
Yeah.
So it was that kind of thing.
Okay.
Rather than shoes or feet or
bare foot.
The shape, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what made me think that, but it's just.
You never know with the paranormal, anything can happen.
Yeah, going back to the Highlands questions, Helen's saying Fort George for me. We've not managed, obviously, to get into Fort George. We've heard some stories, but because it's a military base, it's always been a bit of a no-go for us. Hospitals as well. Heard lots of stories about hospitals. Definitely.
Happened when I've been in hospital. Yeah.
Yeah.
The last time I was there, actually, I really freaked out because it was one of the first major experiences I'd ever had, like paranormal, and I'd got up in the middle of the night. I thought I was in a wee cubicle of my own, so that wasn't so bad, but I got up in the middle of the night, and you know how you've got like the bathroom, but you've got the sink is in your actual room. It's all quite small, so like I was washing my hands at the sink at like 2 a.m, and I heard this clattering right behind me. So I assumed that something had fallen, or it kind of reminded me of the sound of like if your drip thing, your IV thing, I had an IV drip and a fan next to each other. It kind of sounded like they'd been clashed together. But in the time it took me 2 seconds to turn around, because it was really small. there was nothing. Like, there was nothing on the floor, nothing had moved. So I thought, right, that's really weird, but it's too late to wander about it. I'm too tired. So I went back to bed and I lay on my side and I had the covers over me. Thankfully, I had a sleep mask on. Otherwise, I would have been, I just would have been absolutely freaking out, because I was lying there and I could feel the corner of the bed sheets as if somebody had grabbed the corner of my sheets and it was just going up and up. So I could feel the air coming in under my sheets. I was lying there like, am I on too much medication? Is this? But honestly, it was so, like, maybe if I'd had my eye mask off, I would have seen, like, and I just didn't want to see whatever it was. So I just grabbed the sheets, pulled them round, and I somehow just went back to sleep. But in the morning, I asked my nurse, like, has anyone ever experienced this before? And he was literally like, no, a complete first. Like, that's the first thing like that. And then for the rest of the day, all the other poor nurses were coming to the room and going, oh my goodness, I don't want to come in here. What happened last night? And I was just like, okay, it wasn't that bad, but it was still quite, like, you know, when you're in hospital by yourself at 2 a.m, it's not like that great. But yeah, I've had lots of stuff like that happen. That was the worst.
Yeah. It's spooky.
Yeah.
Spooky. But hospitals are so active, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so active. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. If it happened to you, the question now is, though, if it happened to you now, would you take the mask off and look?
Yeah. I've kind of become, what's the word, immune, as it were, to the fear of it. Like, the curiosity outweighs the fear. So I think now it would be absolutely fine. I would just be like, oh God, stop it, please just stop, I need to sleep. But at the time I was like, that had never really happened to me before, so like, oh, don't know what to do. But I got told afterwards that oh, did that happen to you as well, Helen? Oh my goodness. Because yeah, afterwards I was told by somebody that, like, the ward, my usual ward, it was Rigmore, my usual ward is like the most haunted ward in the whole hospital. So one of the nurses told me, so I was like, all right, okay, well, kind of makes sense, doesn't it? But yeah, I was like, thank you for that. I was also one other time in the most haunted room in the most haunted ward. I was just like, yeah.
What do we have to do?
We're missing
to
out
in there?
here.
Yeah. I have cystic fibrosis, so thankfully I've not had any hospital admissions for a good years. But yeah, it'd be kind of interesting back in to see if it would happen again. But yeah, not really wishing.
Yeah, don't wish yourself to go back there.
No, not unless like an investigation or something. But I don't think.
Yeah.
Don't think that.
Yeah. Yeah, so Andrew's going to come on at some point and tell us about. He's had quite a lot of things happen to him over the years, so he's going to come on and chat to us at some point. But yeah, that's really cool. What use the word? It's really cool that Helen had the same. But I don't think really cool is probably the right word to use. Yeah, Stefan had mentioned as well. So many comments. He'd mentioned Old Down. For and obviously Isabel Gowdy's, yeah, we've had some pretty cool stuff there as well. Where else? No, we haven't, but it's one that I'd probably like to do at some point. Yeah. Maybe it was. Maybe it was. That's Dern, by the way. That's Dern. She's talking about them.
What's her name, Catherine? We can maybe ask for her when we're there the next time. Sometimes quite good to know names of people that were there, and we can call out for them. Or you could come and call out to her yourself if you fancy an investigation.
Yeah. Yeah. I think hospitals in general are just, when you think about it, it makes so many people pass in hospitals that it makes perfect sense that you know that would happen. But yeah. So yeah, lots going on. I'm just seeing if I've missed anything. Murdoch, we don't have any vacancies at the moment, but always keep an eye on the page. Look for events to come along to and things like that. And obviously, yeah, you can message us privately if you're looking for any advice or help. We're always there to help others. So that includes, other folk that are paranormal groups and whatnot. We're always happy to chip in and give advice and whatnot. So, but yeah, hopefully, maybe in the future we'll have something. So yeah, there's Catherine saying. Okay. Okie dokie. So have I missed anything, guys?
I was just away to say we had our investigation at, our meetup, I suppose, rather than a sort of full investigation, over at Strathpeffer Pavilion with the Danish TV.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I don't think we've been on. Yeah. Forgot all about that. So that was good.
Yeah.
That was really real.
Me for a change.
It was interesting, yeah.
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 What I really liked about that was when we were all, because the guys, we were obviously sort of showing them different stuff and different equipment. We didn't really, it was a lot of sort of chat they were doing rather than an actual investigation. And plus Lynn and I weren't sure if we maybe had a spirit with us that had followed us. So we were a little bit cautious about sort of doing that while we were on TV. But what I really liked was when we went up to the balcony and the cat balls had been placed on sort of World War memorabilia that had belonged to Lynn's, was it your granddad? Great-granddad. And the cat ball was going off where there was nobody, sort of anywhere near it. So that was the kind of highlight of that for me.
Yeah, it made their night, didn't it? I think they were really, really impressed with that. So it was real.
Ball and no one near, so it was amazing. And it went up a few times.
Thanks, Barbara.
It was quiet and I spotted it and it went off a few times randomly and then it just stopped. Yeah,
really, really, really interesting. And definitely had the feeling that we weren't there on our own that night. It was really, really interesting, and we don't know whether or not it's Danish national TV, so we don't know whether or not it'll air. You'll be able to see it here or not. Hopefully, it would be nice to see the footage. Yeah.
Maybe I'll make it its way onto YouTube. We'll need to check. Iona's got a friend in Denmark, so she's going to keep a eye out for it coming on TV. So
yeah.
But then you hear your own voices, don't you? And it's like, I couldn't watch this back because I don't want to hear my voice. Or worse, my laugh.
it'll only be probably a couple of minutes because it's a program that's covering a lot of things. So yeah, it was for 2 hours, and you kind of equate it an hour to a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll see, as I said. But yeah, we've got that was really nice to go back to Pavilion as well because it's another great location.
Yeah,
and can't thank Fraser or the trust enough for letting us to go in and film there with the group. And as Lynn's mentioned, we've got a couple of investigations that have been filmed that we'll be putting out on YouTube hopefully soon as well, which is something we've talked about doing for ages. And the little promo that's already been put together by Iona is brilliant. So really looking forward to seeing the whole thing, even though I don't like seeing myself or my voice on anything, but needs must. On that subject, I'm going to be on Simply Spooky on Friday night at 8:00. So that's on Facebook. I'll post a link up when I've got a link for that one. And then, as I said, on the 19th, we've got Scott from Paranormal and History. He's going to be chatting with us here. We'll try and get another virtual in soon. It's been good catching up with everybody.
So for all the spray people, Starship 4 is going up tomorrow.
Oh, Cool.
And I've got a day off because I was doing a course on my usual day off. So I'm going to be... I'm watching it just now. I'm watching the pre-show just now. So I'm like, oh.
Cool. And I should say we'll be up in Thurso on the Friday the 21st of June for the carnival there, and we will have the Haunted Doll with us. So if you're in Thurso or in that neck of the woods and you're coming along, come along and say hi to us. Yeah, we're looking forward to that. And then we've mentioned already we're doing HorrorCon in October as well, and we'll probably be doing a talk now at HorrorCon as well. So that's excited about that. Not sure what I'm going to talk about, or maybe I'll get somebody else to talk about something.
I was just thinking, I hope that's the royal we that you're talking about when you're talking about we.
I don't know. I think, there's a chance for someone else to shine, So until
no
then,
volunteers.
No. Okay, folks. Well, thanks to everybody for coming on tonight. Thanks for continuing to follow us and support us. It's really appreciated. Take care. As I said, we'll be back on soon, and as I said, hopefully Saturday night we'll do a live from location. But until then, guys, take care and thanks for joining.
Cheers,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.